All right, we are live. Estamos en vivo. Hola, hola, hola. Muy buenas noches a todos. Soy Tasha of Tasha Teaches Spanish y estoy aquí con otro episodio en la serie Hablamos Español. So this is Tasha of Tasha Teaches Spanish with another episode, I guess, in the talk series Hablamos Español. Very happy, very appreciative, very grateful to have tonight Special Sanders. Special Sanders. Hola, Special.
Hola, Tasha.
All right. So the other three ladies I interviewed, I knew. I had known them for a year or longer. But Special, I never really met in real life. So just as you all will be learning about Special tonight, so will I. And a shout out to Kwaisi Galladay. I hope I pronounced everything correctly. Kwaisi Galladay, who's currently in Pambla, for the introduction. Special had a Facebook post up dealing with speaking Spanish, and she connected us, and ta-da, boom, we're connected. So thank you so much, Kwaisi. Hopefully you're watching this. Okay, so let me get started. As all our guests do, they start off with an introduction, but in Español, and that is for you. That gives you the opportunity to test your comprehension skills. Everybody knows a little more Spanish than they realize. I've come to learn that, or most people do, in my teaching. And so this gives you an opportunity to test out your knowledge. What do you know? Oh my gosh, what is it? I am so sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. Woo! Perdóname. Sorry, guys.
Está bien.
All right, so I'm going to ask Special a few questions. She'll answer them in Español, and we'll see if you got it. All right, so número uno, ¿cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Special Sanders, o en español me llamo Especial.
Ok, y Especial, ¿qué son algunos de sus pasatiempos?
Pasatiempos, pues a mí me gusta leer. La mayoría del tiempo estoy leyendo y también porque soy una maestra de inglés. También siempre estoy buscando cosas que yo puedo enseñar a mis niños en la clase. Pues estudiantes, pero para mí son mis niños.
Oh, porque tú eres una buena maestra.
Ah, sí, espero.
Ok, número 3, Especial, ¿de dónde eres?
Soy de Arkansas.
Okay.
Originalmente de un pueblito se llama McGee. Pero hoy en día estoy viviendo en Monticello y yo enseño a la escuela de Pine Bluff, donde vive la amiga de nosotras, Kwaisi.
Ok, número 4. Por favor, díganos un poco sobre tu familia.
Oh, ok. Soy madre soltera. Tengo un niño que tiene 2 años de edad. Y pues mi familia es muy grande. Mi mamá es mi mamá, pero mi papá ya se murió. Pero yo tengo 9 hermanos. Pero soy la bebé.
Oh, ok. Por eso tú eres especial, porque eres la última.
Sí, creo.
Okay, número 5. How you doing out there, viewers? Hope you haven't turned away by saying, I don't know this stuff, because the English is coming. Hold on, guys. Número 5. ¿Tu trabajo o trabajos? Pues tú has dicho ya que eres maestra. ¿Hay otro trabajo que tú tienes?
No, solamente una maestra de inglés en la high school. O secundaria.
Es suficiente, es mucho tiempo ser maestra.
Okay.
Número 6, ¿qué usted quiere ser en el futuro si sea diferente de lo que haces ahora?
Oh, sí. Estoy maestra de inglés, pero en el futuro yo quiero ser maestra de español. Más o menos es mi sueño, sí, de ser maestra de español.
Ok. Y la última pregunta, número 7, ¿su canción latina favorita o un cantante favorito?
Oh, sí, se llama, pues más o menos es mi canción favorita, se llama Corre, es de Jesse y Joy.
No conozco a él, Jesse y Joy, ok.
No sabe.
Corre,
más o menos ellos dicen, corre.
Necesito encontrarlo.
Es una canción muy triste, pero sí, los cantantes son Jesse y Joy.
Okay. Gracias por el conocimiento.
Sí, tienes que buscar.
All right. And so, guys, that is the end of the Spanish portion. All right. So, hopefully you learned something. All right. So now let's get to know Special.
Yeah.
So number one, why did you decide to learn Spanish? Out of all the languages or learning a language, period, what made you say, I want to learn another language and I want to learn Spanish?
It's very interesting. What happened is I was in the 5th grade and some new students came to my school. And before then, no one in my school had ever spoken anything English. And I was looking at the students and I was like, what are y'all saying? And so I just decided I'd been curious and curious after several weeks. And so I just went over and asked them, I was like, well, what are y'all saying? And then they told me, oh, well, we're from Texas and we're speaking Spanish. And I was like, oh, wow, that's so cool. I've never heard anyone speak Spanish. And so from that day, I became a little obsessed and I bought a Spanish English dictionary and spent like the rest of that summer, like looking through the Spanish English dictionary, learning words, reading the key and how to sound out the words until,
And this is 5th grade Special.
yeah.
5th grade.
And so then I guess kind of fast forward, I didn't get to take Spanish in school until 9th grade. And so in the 9th and 10th grade, I was able to take Spanish and pass them with flying colors, like 100%. So
Yeah,
it's
because
been
you're
kind
like,
of a
yeah,
lifelong commitment after that 5th grade
yeah.
thing.
Wow, you took it in 5th grade and ran with it. Woo, that is beautiful. That's a good, beautiful story. But so what? Those children weren't exchange students. They just moved from Texas.
Yeah, they just moved from Texas.
Okay. All right. Next up. So you already told me really, but I'm still gonna ask. So the question is, how did you learn? You started with this initial organic interest, and then from there, so you started off kind of self-taught. Then you learned it in school in 9th and 10th grade. So what about after that? What about after high school? Was there
Yes,
anything else?
so unfortunately, we weren't able to in high school to get past Spanish 1 and 2 because there weren't enough students, and you know how schools are. You have to have a certain amount of students in order to actually have it as a class. So the rest of my learning came in college, and I minored in Spanish in college. And actually, that's a pretty funny story too. One of my friends in one of my classes, we became really close, and she said, "I'm going to help you, and I'm going to speak to you from now on only in Spanish."
That's a good friend.
Yes, her name is Patty. So Patty, if you're watching, hola chica. And so, and then so we would practice, and then when I would go out actually with my other monolingual friends to like Mexican restaurants here in town, I would practice my Spanish by ordering in Spanish. And I would always tell the waitress, "Hi, I'm trying to learn Spanish. Puedo practicar mi español y ordenar del menú?" And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, sure." And then most of the time, everybody would come out from the back and like, "Oh." So,
Yes, ma'am. I'm used to that. Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
Okay, good, good. So you only minored, no major, only
Mm-mm.
minored in college. And
Yeah.
what college did you attend?
The University of Arkansas in Monticello.
Okay, go
Um,
Bold Weevils.
yeah, yeah. And I actually studied abroad too in Costa Rica. I was able to do that.
Okay, how long?
It was just a summer session, so about 6 to 8 weeks. Uh,
Did you do the same program where you go down there and you go to some kind of school?
yes, actually, we ended up
Mhm.
two different schools, and we had to stay with local families. And I'm still in
Yep.
touch with the families today, actually.
This
So
sounds familiar. I forget the name of school, like IPI, VPI. I saw
mine
that
was
was three
called
letters.
CPI.
I think that's it. And one's in Monteverde, and the
Yes,
other's in
exactly. Heredia and
San
Monteverde.
Jose something. Wherever the
Pues
city is. It's one of
mine
them
was
cities.
Monteverde and Heredia.
That's probably it. I remember Monteverde.
Okay.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful place.
Yes,
Beautiful
yes.
experience. Beautiful experience. Yes, ma'am. All right, next up. Currently, how do you keep your language fresh and your skills sharp?
I guess the primary way is actually because of a previous job that I had. I know that comes later in the interview, but I'm in touch with people from my job, but I also have a lot of friends who feel more comfortable. They may be bilingual or not. And whereas English is their second language, and so because I want them to feel comfortable, as you know, as I can feel comfortable, we kind of speak to each other in Spanish or English based on the preference. And so that's one way. Also, I'm trying to teach my son how to speak Spanish. And
Woo.
so that's another way. And then a lot of times a lot of my friends communicate with me in Facebook Messenger in Spanish. And so I'm getting the verbal and kind of the written together that way.
Mm-hmm. Good. Well, great, actually. Um, oh, you know what? That's not a question on here, but you mentioned it. So I've gotten that before from people, that question, how do I start my little one learning? So what are you doing with your son? And he's
Actually, one of
two.
my
I'm sure she just mentioned it, guys, but he's two. So it's
yes,
never
he's
too early. Never
yeah.
too early.
I don't know if it's sticking because he's not really speaking English much either. So one of my friends, if she's watching, hi Rosa, she bought him a book that was in Spanish, and so I read it to him. And then another one of my friends, her name is Andre, she bought bilingual books for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm reading those books and talking to him, uh, slight commands,
Mm-hmm.
that I would say like one word in English and try to teach it to him in Spanish, and also just little songs that you would sing to your baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just try to translate them roughly into Spanish.
Yeah. Well, I understand that completely, especially the songs. Cara has several little Spanish books. And I'm just like you, like I'm like, is it working? Because he doesn't even speak English well, like a couple
Right.
words. But with the songs, he knows two of them. He doesn't know all the words, but we'll do Estrellita, ¿dónde estás? And Los Pollitos. We sing those.
Oh,
And so
okay.
like I'll stop and then he'll say the word and we'll keep going. So he knows those pretty well. But yeah. So good stuff. All right, next up. What was most difficult for you when you first started learning?
I think the verbs, just learning how to conjugate verbs and how to use them, that was the most complicated part. And that's probably that should have told me something when I was younger, because I'm an English teacher now, so I want to say it the right way all the time. And the further thing is, I wanted it to be grammatically correct. And so my teachers, and they used to they be like, you're doing too much. And I'm like, no, it has to go here. So placement of like nouns and verbs, everything. I was really primarily concerned with that and verbiage. So
Yeah,
that was
that's good. That's the lady we interviewed last week. She mentioned how she's big. What for her was dialect and want to know all the dialects and how to say them and all the idioms. I'm like, y'all better than me because I'm just gonna say I'm dumb and have somebody correct me. So this is my best attempt, but that's good. That's good. It's great to care in the beginning because I'm like that and I'm not as meticulous. It's like I'm learning twice. I got to go back and literally, dot my I. Oh, wait, this needs an accent. Oh, before I was like, who cares?
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't hurt to care from the get go. All right, let's see. Is there anything that is still difficult for you about the language today?
I have to be honest, the past tense. The past, well, because there's a little more, it's a little more involved than
Mm-hmm.
sometimes English. And so just working on that and
Yeah.
when to use, like,
Imperfect versus preterite.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's my
Mm-hmm.
struggle.
Mm-hmm. And for me, it's all the other tenses. Like I just started doing well with future probably 2 years ago, and
Oh,
all the other tenses, I do not care. I'm over it. I just hey, it's demasiado para mí. You can survive with present, the past, and even the future. You can do that little trick. This is what my college professor taught me. One of them, I didn't even use future tense because of this. She taught us how to just put, just put to go in
yes,
front of your
yes,
word, and that's your future tense. So
yes.
I
I do
just
that a
start,
lot
I
actually.
just started doing it, the official way where you add the correct ending at the end of your infinitive. I just started doing it. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
over it. But okay, thank you for your honesty. Thank you. All right, next up. How has learning Spanish benefited you personally, professionally, or in any other way?
Personally, I guess it was a goal of mine. It became a goal of mine to be proficient in Spanish, and so that was like a personal goal. And I did have a few opportunities, like at Vacation Bible School and things of that nature, and local youth centers they would call. sometimes because they knew me from other things, and they would say, come here, and you know kind of like this thing here that this conversation that we're having, like encouraging other black kids, people to learn a different language, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of talk to them about the benefits of Spanish. So that was good. But professionally, actually, it's in one specific instance, I know it was beneficial for my job that I needed to know Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
because during that job, yes, I was basically living and writing and creating in both languages all day long.
Wow. Yeah.
So
You were needed. You were needed. You were
yeah.
needed. Okay. And then this another question just popped in my head. Thinking back to where you're from McGee. Um, and you already mentioned how people react in this restaurant. And this is gonna come up later, kind of. But just being from a small town, like were you were you known throughout the town for your Spanish speaking abilities? Like it's with small town life is a little different, and the spotlight's kind of always on you for whatever you're known for. So did everybody know you in the town know you for that, or how did that go?
Later on, after I graduated college, I had to go 30 minutes away to go to college. But once I came back home, yes, uh, people started noticing, and definitely they were like, "That's so cool," and introducing me to their children. And I actually got to start knowing a lot of the Latino community. It's very small, a few families, but yes, I got to know some of them as well, and I helped
All
them.
right.
Since we're on it this weekend with the DACA, I was actually able to help some people apply for DACA and things of
Oh,
that
que bueno.
nature. Yeah.
That is great. Okay, look at you, hometown hero, special. Okay. Next up, people automatically assume that a Spanish speaker is just gonna easily make a whole lot of money just because they're bilingual. So when I first started learning, I would tell people, and they say, "Oh, you headed toward that big money, big money." Now I don't know. Everybody has a different definition of big money.
Yeah.
Let's say $100,000.
Uh-huh.
So have you found this to be true? That people automatically assume you easily make money, and then are they right in it? Or what has your experience been with this idea?
Yes. Now my experience has been that people do assume that they do assume that you're going to make the big money. Um, in my case, $100,000. No, that's not where I am. But
Me either.
uh, maybe one day. I don't know.
Yes, ma'am. Now, I was talking to a fellow Spanish speaker probably 2 years ago, and one thing we talked about maybe it's the state. Well, number one, it's always the job you choose, number one.
Yes, I
But
agree
then
with that.
after that, even like being an interpreter, sometimes like here in Arkansas, it's common that an interpreter will still just make 15, 16, 17. But if they move to a different state, it's more. So sometimes it's the state too.
Yes, I actually met two court interpreters here in Arkansas. That's what they do for a living,
Mm-hmm.
and they were trying to encourage me to do that as well. But it was
Oh,
one of
yeah.
them.
Go ahead.
Well, I
Excuse
was just
me.
gonna say one of them. She did it to like supplement as like a second job, because she said that she had the ability to pick whichever, like her dates and times and things like that she wanted to do. So
Yeah. Now, but you mentioned that specific, and I have heard out of all the interpreters, that's the best one because that's the most difficult field because you have to be real meticulous and all of that. So,
yes, I can only imagine. I did take a bilingual interpreters course one time when I worked as a teaching assistant right after college, and I was just like blown away. I was like, "Woo!" Like interpreting word for word, like exactly what someone has said.
hmm
Woo.
yeah, yeah, and and you're meticulous. I'm not, so I know I ain't got no chance. But I've been thinking about trying to believe it or not. Maybe it'll make me step up. Maybe I'll step up.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, next up, you mentioned this a bit in talking about speaking at your local Mexican restaurant when you were younger, but just in general, not just that experience, but others. How do Latinos respond when you start speaking Spanish?
I guess I should probably discuss when I'm not. I'm pretty known around here, so maybe when I go somewhere else,
Right.
uh, surprised. That's the first reaction. Normally, people are just surprised, and there's a pause, as if, "Mm," you and I don't, sometimes I'm like, am I saying it wrong or am I speaking too fast? Maybe because it sometimes I speak. I don't know, for some reason it's like my rhythm speeds up in Spanish. I don't know
It's
why.
supposed to. It that they talk there. Isn't that what's supposed to happen?
No, I mean the way that I'm speaking, I speak really fast in Spanish, and so I'm like, well, maybe I'm speaking too fast. Let me slow down. I'm telling myself, habla, habla lentamente, right? And so, but most of the time it's shock. That's usually the most common reaction that people have, and then later on, like if I've talked to them for a little bit, the questions are, where are you from? Or are you Dominican? Are you Puerto Rican? Are you Cuban? I'm just like, no, I'm from Arkansas. And then the funny thing that always happens, where are your parents from?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah,
And I'm like, they're from Arkansas too.
and I guess they exactly they think maybe you're generational. Like,
Yeah,
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 it's
yeah.
through the generations. Yeah. Yeah. And my joke is I'm Cuban. I always tell people I'm Cuban. And I say only reason I pick Cuba is because I like Celia Cruz and the culture. And it's a
Oh
lot of
yes,
Afro
I love
Cubanos.
her. La negra que tiene tumbao.
Yeah. So I just say, I'm Cuban. And then, but I always tell them the truth. Like, just kidding. I'm not.
Right.
So yeah, but that's my answer. I'm Cuban. Soy cubana de La Habana. But
Well, it's interesting now. A few years ago when Mexico started recognizing the Afro Mexican people that lived there, and so I've met some people that thought that I was Afro Mexican because when I talk, people tell me my Spanish sounds more. It has like the like it's like I'm from Mexico, but
Mexican
that's probably
dialect.
because most of the people that I communicate with are from Mexico or
Yeah.
their parents are, and so that's the accent that I have. At least that's what I was told all the time when I was in Costa Rica.
Hmm. And you just educated me on something because I have never seen. Well, I don't know anything about like the history of Africans in Mexico. I didn't even know they had Afro Mexicans at all. I've been there a couple times,
Mhm.
like, and most, well, except Spain, but most Latin American or Spanish speaking countries I go to, I'll see some melanated folks. So I'm like,
Right.
okay,
Mhm.
cool. But Mexico, I've gone and I've seen zip. So I just said in my mind, oh, we must never touch down or never been drug over there. But I did not know there were Afro Mexicans.
I think it's gonna depend on which states you go to. The ones that I knew, like Chiapas. I know specifically in the state of Chiapas.
Learn something new
They're
today.
mhm.
Okay. We're everywhere, guys. We're everywhere. Estamos en todos sitios.
See.
We're everywhere. All right. Next up. How do other races respond when you start speaking Spanish?
Well, if you will recall the Facebook post of mine that we met on.
I'll let you tell it. I remember.
Okay. I would say other minorities, they always say, "Oh, that's really good." But I think some of the like non-minority people have, at least in the current climate that we're in, I guess what's going on politically and societal, hasn't been always positive. I'll just say
Mm,
that. So,
mm,
but
mm.
a lot of African Americans or people that maybe identify as Black Americans, because that's a deal too. If you're
Yes,
gonna say
ma'am.
you're Black,
The
if you say you're
wording. The
African
wording.
American,
Yeah, the
so
wording. Yeah.
but in generally they're like, oh, that is so cool, and that's when the conversations about the money come in. They're like, sister girl. So I'm like, oh, well, not making that kind of money, but I appreciate your support.
Okay. All right. Very honest answer. Very honest answer. Um, Another question popped in my head before I continue. So, how is it that you are teaching English? You said you want to teach Spanish.
Hmm.
So why? What was your journey like to where you just ended up teaching English first?
Well, I started off after I graduated college being an English as a second language teaching assistant, and I didn't at the time. I wasn't planning to become a teacher at all. I'd initially planned to go to do. I was kind of a hippie type thing. I wanted to do like the Peace Corps,
Be
and
free. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Be free, baby. Nothing
right.
wrong with it.
So, but at the time, actually, my very first year, I met my student. I can talk about her because she's grown now. Her name was Maria, And her story was just so compelling to me when she was learning how to speak English, and then she told me about being undocumented, and so that actually like started my
Mm,
activism to advocate for my all of my students that spoke English as a second language, but especially my students that were undocumented. They, took a special place in my heart, and so from there, I kind of after 5 years of being ESL teacher, I worked for Arkansas United, which is a nonprofit
mm-hmm.
organization here in the state that advocates for the immigrant community, and that is where I had to learn. Well, actually use Spanish and English all day, every day. But I
Mm-hmm.
worked there too, and then I decided to become an English teacher to give back to my community, and so I guess just more or less just trying to get all of my credentials now. That's what I'm working on, getting all my credentials so that I can teach in that area. But the funny thing is, one of the Spanish teachers at my school, she keeps hinting at retirement and telling me, go ahead, get your stuff. So that when I go to the house, they won't have to, put somebody in here to teach the kids by video or, distance learn. They can just have, an actual body in the
Mm-hmm.
classroom. So that's kind of where we are right now.
Well, good. You got a that's for sure job
Yeah.
security. All righty. What do you recommend for anybody who's watching, and they say they want to learn the language? What do you recommend?
Um, I think first of all, just go for it. Don't wait around. If you are whatever the language is, I mean, personally, I recommend Spanish, but whatever the language is that you want to speak, see if you can find other people around that speak that language so that you can have some people to practice with. I think that builds confidence early. And so that when you get, because I think it's called like that silent period where you know the language up here but you don't like have the confidence to speak it.
Yes.
And so I think that if you have somebody to practice with, that kind of makes that transition a little easier. But
Like you had
definitely,
the friend that said, "Look, I'm only going to speak to you in Spanish."
yes, and that built up my confidence to then have conversations with people out in the community and out and at restaurants. But also get that dictionary, learn those words, get some flashcards. And I actually have used Rosetta Stone as well. I'm not trying to advocate or anything, but it helped me. So I definitely think those are some good tips that I would take. So
Okay.
get a friend that speaks the language, get your dictionary that tells you both that language and in English, and then if you need a program that or go to tasha will tasha will teach.
Thank you. Gracias. Oh, okay. All right. Oh man, it's almost over. Qué tristeza.
Oh.
All right. So anything else you want to add? A funny story, just anything. And if it's
um
that's fine.
just
But anything else you want to conclude with?
I would say just don't let fear hold you back. Um, I've had a lot of goals in my life, but I can honestly say this goal of learning Spanish was one that I never gave up on. I worked
Mm,
really hard. I was determined, and every time an opportunity came my way, or just even making myself get out of my comfort zone after I learned the language to talk to people, I just say go for it. Don't be fearless. It's 2020. Like, let's go.
that's good. That's good. Well, guys, we are at the end. I know, but as I mentioned before, now Special will tell you a bit about herself in English. So, what do you think you got out of it when she said it in Spanish? Now it's time to see if you were right. So, your name, please.
My name is Special Sanders.
Hmm.
Uh,
And some pastimes. Question number two. What are your pastimes?
yes, I like to read, and I spend the majority of my time reading. But also because I am a English teacher, I'm looking for things all the time that I can teach my kids. Now I call them my kids, but I guess I should call them students. But for me, they're my kids.
Okay. Where are you from?
I am from a small town in Arkansas. Well, sorry, I'm from Arkansas, a small town originally, McGee. Um, but I currently live in Monticello, and I met Kwaisi in Pine Bluff.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Tell us about your family.
Yes, I'm a single mom. I have one son. He's 2 years old. I have a large family, 9 brothers and sisters, but I'm the baby. So that's why I'm
And you
special.
mean 9 other than you, so a total of 10?
Oh, sorry. I guess I should have clarified. It's 9 of us all together. Yeah. And I'm still
Still
the
big.
baby. So,
Still big, yeah. All right, you already mentioned you're a teacher, so are there any other jobs you have?
no, being a teacher, that's the only job I have.
And like I said earlier, that's enough because it's a lot of work. Okay, what do you want to do in the future or be in the future if it's different from what you're doing now?
Yes, in the future, I want to be a Spanish teacher. I'm an English teacher right now, but in the future, I would like to be a Spanish teacher. So,
And last but not least, a favorite songs, the Latino song or
yes,
singer.
no, I didn't say singer. I said my favorite song is called Corre, and it's by Jesse and Joy. So
I'm
look
gonna
them
look that
up.
up right after this because I've never heard of that one. Yeah, I need
I'll
to
send
get.
it to you if you don't find it. Just let me know.
Okay, thank you. Because I mean, I'm really the problem. Like I said last week to the lady I interviewed last week, Jenny. I'm stuck. I just keep my little same people: Celia, Hector Lavoe, Selena Quintanilla, and I'm like, I don't need anybody else, but I need to branch out. I need to branch out.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias, special, por tu tiempo, and just with your willingness to come through. So I appreciate you. I'm sure the viewers appreciate you. Viewers, I appreciate you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And so as far as I'm concerned, this is going to be the last part of the series, last episode in the series. We've had four great ladies from all over. And I've been very happy to hear from them. But we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll meet some more people and put them on. We'll see. But for now, this is it. So, happy Father's Day to the dads out there. Early happy Father's Day. And that's about it. So,
Okay.
thank you so much, special. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Buenas
Nos
noches.
vemos.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.